How's your summer going? Well, if it doesn't include golf and a lot of ice cream, I think you're missing out. Oh, and one more thing. NASCAR racing, K&N Pro Series E style from Thompson. Now you got it. It is throwback weekend in the East for the K&N Pro Series. The names of the sports stars adorn the current cars, and the stars of today hope to live up to them. And the fans expect a fender-rubbing good time on a big old short track in Connecticut. Welcome, everyone, to the King Cadillac GMC Throwback 100 from the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. I'm Dave Burns alongside Landon Castle and Derek Perniciglio down on pit road. And throwback weekends, Landon, are so much fun. They're a lot of work, but we love them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're used to seeing throwback cars on the Cup side, but now you get to see some short track history of some throwback cars with this K&N Pro E Series.
And they brought the good weather.
They did. 69 degrees. These guys are getting kind of lucky because they used to race at night at this track, and this is a day race, and it's only 69 degrees. So it's going to be a lot cooler in the cars for the drivers.
Just outside of Boston. Should be a fun night here in Landon. Here's the championship picture.
Yeah, we've got Tyler Ankrum and Tyler Dipple right up top. And those two cars from DGR have been the fastest cars all year long. Ankrum has had the fastest car all weekend long, but has to start at the tail after his qualifying time got disallowed. And Tyler Dipple backed his car in practice, and the team has spent the entire practice session fixing that car and getting it ready to race.
Let's head down to Derek.
Dave, Landon, this is a huge treat for the season for the NASCAR K&N Pro Series East drivers. It's throwback weekend here at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. And check out some of these throwback schemes. The number 74 of Brandon McReynolds throwing a throwback scheme of running Cookie Visconti's car, who is the car owner's father who raced at the Islip Speedway in Riverhead for so many years ago. Then on the outside is Anthony Alfredo with the Sterling Marlin similar Silver Bullet looking S ride. And then over here, this has been a crowd favorite this afternoon. The Days of Thunder Russ Wheeler number 18 car being driven by Colin Garrett. He'll start on the inside of road number 2. And then we have an old Busch North throwback scheme on the outside with Ruben Garcia Jr. paying tribute to Ruben Pardo, the first NASCAR Mexican-born driver to win in the Busch North Series. And then on the pole, of course, everyone's sentimental favorite here tonight, the number 13, the Ted Christopher-esque paint scheme of Spencer Davis. He's going to drive that car here tonight for Danny Watts, and they're going to hopefully try to park that car in Victory Lane on throwback night here at Thompson.
A lot of eye candy down there, Landon, for these fans to watch tonight.
Yeah, I love throwback weekend. I love the Northeast. There's so much rich history in short track racing. Like Teddy Christopher, I grew up racing against him in the South in New Smyrna Speedway, so love to see that scheme.
Well, back in 2003, this series was called the Busch North Series. And it had some stars of the future, including Martin Truex Jr. in his family's 56 car. He led 20 laps that night, finished third, but not before an intense battle with Tom Carey Jr. Look at this, man! Carey saves it, and he would go on to Victory Lane. There was more action, though. The 11 of Tim Andrews, the 22 of Joey McCarthy. Watch this. Hang on. Yeah, a little wall contact. That's good to go. And how about future crew chief in the Cup Series, Paul Wolfe? This is where he got his racing start. The 9 car had a little help and ended up finishing 22nd. The winner, we already said it, Tom Carey Jr. in the 03, the Tommy Mahan owned car. It was the last of 7 wins for Tom in the series.
That just really shows you the show that Thompson Speedway can put on. These long straightaways, a lot of brakes, a lot of action, a lot of sparks. We might see it tonight.
Qualifying was a bit of a show, Derek.
Gabe, this throwback race here at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park is definitely special, especially for the car that is sitting on the pole because it's running the throwback scheme to one of the favorite sons of the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, Ted Christopher, with his famous number 13. And carrying that number is Spencer Davis, who is also driving for the same team owner that Ted Christopher used to drive for. And what would it mean for you to take the 13 to Victory Lane here at Thompson?
Man, it'd be a lot, you know. The DWR 82/13 guys worked real hard, especially with help from Rhett Jones Racing, Terry Jones, and those guys. But, man, it mean a lot to take this 13 car to Victory Lane, you know. And I was talking to the track owner, and if we win tonight, you know, this would be win number 100 for the 13. We take Christopher over the doors. So, you know, it definitely hits home. Haven't been to victory lane in a while, and you know, take a hero of mine to victory lane one more time would definitely hit home. I don't ever get emotional in victory lane unless it's excitement, but you know, you might see a different side of victory lane tonight if we go and park her there on the front straightaway.
It's 100 laps tonight, a little shorter than what you've used to run in the past. Now, do you save tires at all, or do you charge right from the beginning?
Honestly, man, with the tire wears and talking to my crew chief there during practice, I think we can go pretty hard. You know, of course, there's no sense in stinking up the show and getting too far out. So, you know, we can sit around and ride if we're pretty good. But, you know, I got a feeling we're all going to be going, you know, it's a 100-lap dash. And, you know, definitely from what I know from the tour races here, when it's under 150 laps, I can go pretty hard.
Well, Dave, there are a lot of sentimental people here tonight that definitely want to see this number 13 car roll into victory lane at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park on throwback night here tonight.
Now, Derek, you're so right. Ted Christopher lost his life a little less than a year ago in a private plane crash on the way to a race, of course, and Landon, it's special.
Absolutely. I mean, Ted put on a show. He was an aggressive racer. That's what I got out of him. That's why these fans love him so much and love seeing that skiing.
Speaking of the show, fans in the stands tonight got a late model race before this K&N Pro Series race. And it was a pretty good one. Had a lot of action like we expected. And by the way, Tom Carey III, yeah, the son of the winner we showed you a minute ago, is in the 5 car. Did not win the race, but had a strong night. This was the winner. Ryan Morgan outpaced William Wall and Mark Jennison for the late model win. K&N Pro Series racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. Welcome back, everybody, to the King Cadillac GMC Throwback 100. I'm Dave Burns. Landon Castle here with me, along with Derek Perniciglio. That's Tyler Ankrum. We'll talk more about him in a moment. First of all, let's set up this race, Landon.
Yeah, this track has got a little more banking than some of the other tracks in the Northeast. You can use a lot of braking. You got to get that car to rotate. So there's 26 degrees of banking. That's pretty good here at Thompson Speedway.
Let's find out who Derek has his eye on early.
Well, Dave, our Who to Watch driver is starting fourth in that silver bullet, number 40. That's Anthony Alfredo. And his throwback scheme is depicting of Sterling Marlin's number 40 that he drove for Chip Ganassi Racing for so many years. The reason why they went with that paint scheme is because Sterling Marlin's car used to be run out of the MDM shop. So they figured to go with something cool that people would recognize. Anthony Alfredo, well, he's a hometown boy, but he's never raced in the state of Connecticut before. He's done most of his racing down south. This will actually be his first NASCAR start in his home state.
That's really cool. A lot of information there on the 40, and that paint scheme definitely takes you back.
I've used that paint scheme myself when I drove the 40 car at Darlington.
Really?
Yes.
See, there you go.
Good one.
It's a throwback weekend all the way around.
I love it.
Alfredo there on the outside of row 2. And we mentioned the 17 of Ankrum. He set a new track record, but then was disqualified in post-qualifying inspection.
Yeah, too much skew in the back end. The back of these cars, they want them turning. They want to get through those tight corners really fast.
So Tyler Ankrum will start last, the championship leader. See what he can do before the 100 laps are over. It's going to go quick, and the green is out at Thompson.
See some aggressive moves early on,
yeah.
Sort of midway through the field. Looks like they're fighting for the preferred groove.
I saw the big jump of the 13 of Davis, and then a little contact already between the 18 of Garrett and the 40 of Alfredo.
It's a good way to stress your crew chief out early on in the race.
Yeah.
When he sees you rubbing fenders on lap 1.
Throwback weekend, the 13 up front, that is a throwback to Ted Christopher. The 12 right behind him, that is a throwback to Ruben Pardo, the first Mexican-born driver to win in NASCAR. And, of course, the third place, 18, Colin Garrett, is to honor Russ Wheeler from the movie Days of Thunder. And he had the whole thing going on this weekend. Did you see the fire suit?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great look.
The only thing he missed were the glasses. He didn't have those little beady eye glasses that Wheeler had in the film. But
And you got to spend a lot of time on the hair to get the hair just right.
That's right.
You know, it's funny. We talk about how much banking there is at this racetrack.
Yep.
And then you see guys like Dylan Bassett and Ronnie Bassett here in the 04. When they go to make a move, they're going clear down on the flat, trying to shortcut the corner to make the pass.
So what does this track most feel like to you, Landon, as it races and as you've been told about how they race it this weekend?
I feel like New Smyrna. That's a track that has some banking, has some long straightaways, maybe not as long as Thompson, and I don't think you use as much brake at New Smyrna, but you can really carry some speed there and carry the momentum with some banked corners.
Colin Garrett, the 17-year-old from Elmo, Virginia, being chased by Anthony Alfredo, the UNCC student. He's becoming a really good student of NASCAR racing.
Yeah, Anthony's had some good speed this year. It's a nice little slide job type move. You see he dove in like 2 car lengths underneath that 18 car and slid up into him trying to complete the pass.
Derek, how about the length of this race? Just 100 laps.
Guys, we're still at the early stages of this race, but we're seeing guys get very aggressive and pushing and shoving right away. Well, the simple reason is because there isn't that much time. We're only running 100 laps here tonight, so a lot of crews up and down pit road are saying, let it eat, which means go for it. Go at 100% for the whole race. We've got radial tires on the car. They're a little more durable than the bias plies, and don't hold back.
All right, Derek, I'm looking over at Landon, and he's shaking his head. He shook his head when Spencer Davis, the pole sitter, said, I'm going to go. You disagree?
I do. I think we're used to seeing you still have only one set of tires, and I don't want to get suckered into burning these things up. But even though it's a 100-lap race, it only takes 40 or 50 laps to really smoke these tires. And we're going to see these brakes starting to turn red and glowing, even though it's a day race. So if these drivers are abusing their brakes, overheating their cars, they could be going backwards even by halfway point.
You know, Colin Garrett may be playing the waiting game just a little bit, as he's now going to try to get passed by Brandon Cookie Visconti McReynolds in the 74, and Brandon makes the pass.
That might be my favorite throwback paint scheme of this race. That 74. I love a good, authentic paint scheme that looks like it was hand painted like they used to. That's a nice one. Dylan Bassett, I like this guy. This is a family-owned team right here. He's kind of making some progress early on in the race, too. He may not be conserving.
Of course, from the Winston-Salem area, our Dylan and older brother, Ronnie Jr. Dylan's 21 years old now, and I guess considered a veteran in this series, and a bit of a CrossFit junkie, which it works out great. Yeah,
it's great fitness. I like triathlon. I like the long-distance stuff. Those CrossFitters are pretty tough, though. Dylan's a tough guy.
He is. Speaking of tough so far, Spencer Davis in the 13, he has led every lap. This is the battle for second between Ruben Garcia Jr. and the 40 of Anthony Alfredo. Garcia Jr., remember, won a couple of races ago at Memphis. He'll try to make it 2 for the season, 2 in his career here at Thompson. Just getting underway in the 100-lapper. Full afternoon in Thompson, Connecticut for the King Cadillac GMC Throwback 100. 25 laps complete now. They've all been led by this guy, Spencer Davis.
I wanted to say Ted Christopher.
It's that good, isn't it?
I like how he's running this high line. You know, we talked about this race being a day race versus a night race, and drivers tend to like day races because the track's slick and you can slide around. You have to lift a lot more with less grip, and you can see it right here. He's using up this high groove, just kind of keeping the momentum up, saving the tires a little bit.
That's right. There was kind of a balance there. He talked about going hard the whole race, but then that line could actually preserve his tires.
For sure. I mean, he may not be saving his tires, but the high line itself is easier on tires.
So the track saving driver 13, but and the 18 is on pit road now. That's the Russ Wheeler look-alike of Colin Garrett, and he has been in the wall.
That doesn't look good. You can see the right front is leaned in, so definitely something has broken the front suspension. Got the whole right side damaged. The spoilers even got damage on it. That might be the end of the night for him.
Colin Garrett pancaked the wall off the corner in the number 18 machine, and the crew is starting to go to work right now, checking the front suspension to see if there's anything damaged, actually just checking the right side to see if it's damaged or at a square. Colin Garrett was getting terribly loose up off the corner. Clinton Graham was talking to his driver over the radio, and he was just trying to keep him calm, because anytime he would get back to the throttle, the rear of the car would step out.
It's a shame for Garrett, the 17-year-old from Virginia. 6 starts this season and had 4 top 10s. Let's see what happened. Top of your screen.
As crew chief was talking about how he was getting loose off the corners on throttle.
That was the middle of the corner in a group. Wow, right there, almost directly in the middle of 3 and 4. Hard to tell if he got help from this distance, Landon, but he wasn't probably in the preferred line at that point.
Yeah, he got completely out of the groove when that happened. No soft walls at Thompson Speedway.
No. So thankfully, he's okay, brings it to pit road. So we take a look at Anthony Alfredo. You know, as soon as I saw the paint scheme, you know, it came to my mind, yes, Sterling Marlin, but Jamie McMurray too, right?
Ooh, I'll never forget winning in his second start at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That was a good one.
That was
a big win.
Yep.
Filling in for an injured Sterling Marlin.
Where did he crash? Kansas.
Yep.
Wow,
okay.
And then Jamie came in at Talladega and had a good run there, but won his second start at Charlotte. That was a huge night. Another good look at Brandon McReynolds' throwback paint scheme. Again, Derek shared the story with us. Har owner John Visconti's dad, Cookie, used to race this scheme, and he even posted a picture on social media a few weeks back, getting excited about it. And I asked if I could call Brandon Cookie. He said, sure. So now every time I see Brandon, it's Cookie.
Cookie. It's a good name. I love the writing on the number. And here's Dylan Bassett. He's been running a lower line than everybody. I like this kind of bottom feeder move. That's where you got to make the passes.
Dylan has 4 seasons of K&N Pro Series East racing to his credit, along with a trip to Victory Lane. And not everybody can say that. And he's continuing that low line you talked about, Landon.
Yeah, especially having that win in this series with a family team. You know, these guys build their cars themselves. They take them to the racetrack themselves. It's the hard workers.
They like it that way. There was a good article written last month, and it talked about the 2 brothers. And it kind of, are you doing it the hard way? Yes, and we like it that way.
I don't blame them. I feel the same way about my type of racing. I like to work on my cars. I like to feel like I'm changing something on them to make them faster. I feel like I like to have control over it, as we see a pass from Tyler Ankrum right here on his brother Ronnie Bassett.
Yep, big brother getting past here. That is for 6th. So Ankrum, who started 13th and last on the field after not passing post-qualifying inspection, looks like they have the fix for NASCAR's satisfaction. And oh, by the way, for the race car on the 17.
Yeah, Ankrum is just kind of coming into our picture here in the race, but I can tell you that he's been on everybody's radar all weekend. He's had the fastest car all weekend. It's just a matter of how long does it take for him to get up to the front, and what can he do with them?
Remember, he's a championship leader coming into tonight's event. 16 points to the good over the other Tyler Dipple. And Dipple had his adventures too. Crashed on the test day yesterday. They had to repair that race car to get it ready for tonight.
Yeah, that already adds to a great challenge at this racetrack in practice, where you park outside of the track. And so in the practice sessions, it's hard to come onto the track, make your laps, and then go back outside of the track to make your adjustments. In a 45-minute practice session, you may only get 3 or 4 runs on the track. The teams have told me we had to make the most out of each run and each adjustment. As we see Tyler Dipple right here, that car doesn't look like it was wrecked yesterday, but the team had to spend more time fixing it than they did making it faster and adjusting on it in practice.
Just one more challenge for the 18-year-old as he is on his 3rd team of the season. I think he's found the one he wants to stay with, Landon. I mean, they've been good. He won at Langley, and looks pretty sharp tonight.
Yeah, and these DGR cars have just been consistent at every racetrack. They've been very solid. Everywhere they go, they're fast.
Behind Dipple in 9th, this is the 2nd series start for Chase Dowling, the 20-year-old from Roxbury, Connecticut. Kind of fun to race in front of the hometown crowd. Normally runs the modified series, and this year, single-digit finishes all through the line for his modified run. So nice of Ted Marsh to give him another opportunity here in his 31 car.
And talk about throwback schemes. Ted Marsh has got his own throwback scheme of himself every single week for the past 15 years.
It is an iconic look, is it not?
It really is.
Yeah.
It's a good-looking race car. I mean, I remember watching that car when I was a kid growing up.
Yeah, it's funny when you talk to a couple of the drivers who may not have done, quote-unquote, the throwback thing, the 30 of Tristan Van Wieringen in the field tonight as well. Mark Rett opined that, well, that's our scheme from 2 years ago, which technically it is. But it looks pretty modern. Here's a battle for 7th, still being waged between Dipple and Bassett.
You can see tough passing on the bottom here. That's what the drivers told me after practice. That outside groove might be the preferred lane. You got to pass on the bottom, get off the corner, rotate well, have forward drive all night long.
Back to Thompson in a moment.
Hello, everyone.
everyone. I'm Ruben Garcia Jr. I drive the number 6 Toyota for Rev Racing. I'm from Mexico City. I started racing when I was 5, go-karts in Mexico, and then I moved up to the NASCAR Mexico Series back in 2012. And finally in 2015, I got my first NASCAR championship. Probably my biggest accomplishment in my career. Following the steps from Daniel Suarez is huge for me. Obviously, it creates a lot of motivation in my side because it proves that if you work right and do the things right, things can be done and dreams can really come true. I've won in NASCAR before, but it's really special and really different to win outside your country, representing my country. It's really, really cool, and add my name to a really short list of just other 3 drivers that have done that. I'm Ruben Garcia Jr., and that's your NASCAR Next Gen profile.
So the very short list from Mexico: Ruben Pardo, whose paint scheme he runs tonight, Rogelio Lopez, and of course Daniel Suarez. The Mexican-born drivers that have won in NASCAR now, and of course Suarez taking that all the way to an Xfinity Series championship. Good for them. Back up front, just ahead of Garcia, Spencer Davis continues to pace Landon. Have you been watching that car? Do you feel like he's still got the tires and the setup underneath him? Well, that's a little high right there.
Yeah, he's been managing it well, but I like that high line. It works for him. We've got Garcia kind of closing the gap a little bit, though. He might be seeing some fall off on his lap times for Spencer Davis.
Yep, approaching halfway. Garcia looking for the lead. Ankrum looking for 3rd place around Alfredo. And drive off the corner goes to the 40 right here. Let's see what they do in 3.
Ankrum's just been picking them off one by one. 56 laps into this race. He's got some work to do on this 40 car, though, of Alfredo. You can see him kind of following him into turn 3 and then driving him underneath. A little slide job move there, just barely cleared him by inches.
Well, I just had one thought. If they don't get a caution, Landon, they can go on fuel. So the lead is fairly substantial right now for Davis. Does Ankrum have enough time to get there?
Well, he's got about a straightaway gap to the leader, and he's got 1 car between him and the leader. So with 40 laps to go, 42 laps to go, I think there's time for him, and there's got to be a caution at some point. We got to expect one.
You can't plan on it, though.
I know, but Ankrum is probably convincing himself, I know there's a caution. I know there's going to be one.
See if it's going to come up front from Garcia, pushing the 13 of Davis. Hard to say. Hey, that whole 13 team, Derek, looks good tonight.
You know, guys, one of the cool parts about the throwback weekend here at Thompson is not just the cars having the old style paint schemes, but check out some of the crew. This is the number 13 of Spencer Davis. They're wearing the Mystique Motorsports pit crew uniforms that Ted Christopher had his crew wear for so many years on the NASCAR Wheel and Modified Tour. Ted Christopher drove for Jim Galante and his Mystique Motorsports team for many, many years, and it's really cool to see these guys break the old uniforms out of the closet to wear them here tonight.
You know what? Sometimes people don't realize when you have someone like Ted Christopher who's been in that racing community for so long, there's crew guys on every single one of these teams that have probably worked with Ted Christopher at some point in their career. So it really is special to see these guys wearing those crew uniforms like that.
Saw the battle for 4th. This is the battle for the lead. Garcia now going for it. Down on the inside out of 4.
This is going to be a tough pass for him because Spencer has really mastered that high line tonight. Look how high he's running in 1 and 2. Way above that fresh pavement.
What does that do to the 12 then?
It just makes it to where the 13 has a ton of momentum off the corners. The 12 following him right on his quarter panel into turn 3 is the move that he has to make. And you can see him getting loose off of 4 there. That's the challenge. You can't get the car rotated. You can't put the power down because that 13 car has the momentum and is taking your line off the exits.
Garcia has tasted victory already this year. He can see it now. Now he backs off. What kind of line is he going to take here? Yep, right back to it.
And I just want to see him do what he did a lap ago, where you kind of follow him into the corner right on his quarter panel. Kind of, you might have to chase his lane up the racetrack a little bit and then make the pass on exit. It's hard to make the pass on entry. It's better for him to make it on exit. But the more you race like this, it slows them both down, and you got Tyler Ankrum just close a straightaway gap in about 5 laps down to 5 car lengths.
My question answered, right? Plenty of time for Ankrum. Here he comes, top 3 going into 1. And now Garcia feeling the pressure from Ankrum. What is that going to do to his defense? He'd just been mounting offense up to this point.
If Ankrum could get to the outside of the 12 car here while the 12 is going for the lead, it's going to be an easy pass for him.
Oh, there he goes. Tries it. Now ducks back below. Does the crossover. Yeah. Here comes a 17 for second under Garcia.
Man, he really dove in there with another slide job. He's just barely giving himself inches. As a driver, you're just looking in your mirror to see that. You're kind of trusting that the other guy is giving you room.
Oh, and contact. And the 12 of Garcia will spin. Oh, big, tough break for Ruben Garcia Jr.
Looks like he's got a left front tire flat now.
Had the crossover happening, had Ankrum looking for the lead around Davis. And they got together. I was wondering about Garcia switching lines, if that was going to affect him. That may have had something to do with it.
Yeah, if he dives it into the corner too hard on that bottom, these cars can get really loose in. He had nobody behind him to spin him out, so I think that might have been what happened.
Disappointment for Garcia, and the first caution of the night here at Thompson. Here it is.
Yeah, you can see right there, just a little too low, a little too hard into the corner. Wanted to get underneath that 17 car.
And did the 13 and 17 kind of bog down at the exit of the corner there and cause that a little bit too?
Yeah, it looked like the 17 gets into the leader right here. Right here's that contact. Kind of checks him up, and the 12 car had nowhere to go, and he already had so much momentum taking him up the racetrack.
Davis will retain the lead. Here's one more look.
Ruben is just thinking, man, if I would have timed that a little bit better, he probably could have been door-to-door with the 17 coming off of 4.
They save it, and I go to the lead, right?
Exactly.
Well, that is not how it happened. He will head to pit road, and Derek is standing by there. That's a very flat left front tire.
Caution period. A lot of cars have come down pit road, especially the number 12 machine of Ruben Garcia Jr., who was running in the second spot at the time. He and Tyler Ankrum were racing side by side for position. Ankrum got the spot, and Garcia ended up going for a spin off of turn 4. The crew now is trying to put a different tire on that left front and get him back out there. They're not allowed to put used tires on. They have to put on a tire that they ran during practice or qualifying.
That's right, not a brand new one, and they can't change all 4. They can only change a tire on the position that NASCAR deems there was damage, and obviously we saw that. You see Ryan Vargas, his teammate, on pit road as well. Ronnie Bassett has been on and off of pit road at this point. First caution of the night. That'll stack him up for a restart here at Thompson. Late afternoon race in Thompson, Connecticut on a gorgeous day. Fans have had a luxury of seeing these throwback paint schemes in a very comfortable atmosphere. Start of the race, Spencer Davis in the Teddy Christopher throwback goes to the lead and leads the entire first part of the race up until the first caution. Here's what happened to bring out the yellow for the first time. Garcia looking for a way by Ankrum for second, gets into him and spins, and that's where we stand. A lot of good green flag racing, Landon. Now a restart. What does Ankrum and Davis, what do they have in mind?
Well, I feel like Ankrum is the only guy that's been able to make passes on the bottom as easily. You know, we saw Garcia really struggle to get underneath that 13 car, Spencer Davis.
There he goes, sees the cone.
What a great jump for Spencer Davis. It's like Ankrum didn't even go or something.
Huge jump. And, wow, contact in there, and Alfredo's going to take advantage.
And Dylan Bassett, right on the very bottom of the racetrack, he's jumping into third place.
Wow, so Bassett and Alfredo take advantage of Ankrum.
All the way down on the flat, that 44.
We're actually looking next door. NASCAR is indicating to us they're going to just look at that restart one more time. And now they're nodding their heads. It was clean, and so the 13 of Davis did go at the cone just as he was supposed to. It was Ankrum who really didn't fire. And he's back to fourth.
And most of the time, that leader controls the restart. So even if it restarts under review, it's that leader, when he goes, that's when NASCAR deems a race starts.
So now Dylan Bassett says, hey, later in the race, absolutely. The 44 going for it down the backstretch.
Yeah, that was a really aggressive move on that restart that worked out for him. And he's been running lower than anybody else all night. Ankrum's been making good passes, but Dylan has been able to run the very bottom. Clears Spencer Davis for the lead.
How about that?
Completely
New leader
on the apron.
New leader, 44, Dylan Bassett. Now Ankrum trying to claw his way back after a very odd restart for the young driver.
Yeah, this is setting up for a really good finish because Ankrum has had the fastest car all night. He's had to start last, come all the way through the field. He's made tougher passes than anybody else all night. And he's got to get himself back in a rhythm. You can see the way he's kind of sliding around, making contact. I think he's got to get his mind back right so that he can remember that he has the fastest car in the field and chase these leaders down.
It's been a month since this series has raced. As you see Alfredo fighting back on the inside. Ankrum told me he's raced a couple of times in his super late model just to stay fresh. And now he's had a very busy weekend at the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park.
You know, we got New Hampshire coming up, and I know a lot of these teams are planning on taking these cars straight from Thompson to New Hampshire for the race.
Yep.
For the first 3 quarters of this race, I would have thought, oh man, maybe they're saving their equipment for New Hampshire next week. And now we got a race for the win. And they're starting to slide into each other. They threw it all out. They figured, oh, we'll fix them up after this one.
Yeah, well, and Thompson Speedway, to their credit, has given these guys extra garage space to prepare those cars as they're done here to get them onto New Hampshire. So big shout out to the track here. They did a nice attaboy to them. So back up front. This is for second now. Dylan Bassett's getting away. Tyler Ankrum trying to make quick work of Spencer Davis.
So we talked about Spencer Davis running the high line all day long, and this is where it works against his favor. We start opening up the bottom for people when racing is really tight. They just got too much room to make an aggressive move on you and make a pass like Tyler just did.
Derek?
Right now we're listening to the radio conversation of the number 17 of Tyler Ankrum, and the crew chief and spotter are coming over the radio telling him, stay calm, you've got less than 20 laps to go. You have more than enough time to be able to reel Dylan Bassett in and take the win.
Yeah, that's the crew right there, just trying to remind his driver how good his car is, how much time he has left. He had a rough restart, but we can get it back.
Dipple going for 4th under Alfredo. Dipple, by the way, excited for his NASCAR Camping World Truck Series debut coming up at the Eldora Dirt Derby this week.
I don't know how many drivers want to make a debut on the dirt track, but I think if there's anybody that can handle it, it's Tyler Dipple.
Big block modified driver in his past. He's so young and he has a past in racing already. A lot of experience on the dirt, and that's helped him slip slide these cars around. He's had to learn a little bit of the asphalt stock car racing style, which is different.
You can see he likes making that slide job move. There he's sliding right up in front of Alfredo. Not enough room to clear him in the middle of the corner, but Alfredo gave him a break.
Behind them, side by side, McReynolds on the outside, and Chase Cabry now moving forward in that Levi Garrett, Jeff Bodine-esque scheme. Chase helped design all these Rev Racing race cars, and a young fella in their shop named Jimmy G, who has worked at Rev Racing for 7 years. His dad designed the original for Jeff Bodine. McReynolds is going to hang on to that spot. And Cabry's now going to get pressure from Garcia, who has righted the 12 and is trying to make his way back forward.
Yeah, he wisely gets himself back up into that outside lane because he was about to get freight trained by his teammate.
And Chase Dowling behind them in the 31, trying to pick up a couple of spots, getting close to 10 to go. And this is back in the pack as the lead has not settled down. Remember, Ankrum trying to chase down Bassett. Can Tyler Ankrum, fastest car in the track all weekend, catch Dylan Bassett before it's over here at Thompson? We'll bring you the finish in a moment. Laps to go at Thompson Speedway. A quick look at the battle for a 6th. That's Brandon Cookie Visconti. McReynolds on the outside in the 74. Chase Cabry finally sticking the nose through. And this is the battle for the win. Dylan Bassett in the 44 trying to hold off Ankrum.
Great move by Ankrum with the crossover. It gets Bassett out of his comfort zone, then running the bottom, and now he sticks Bassett in the outside lane.
Side by side. 9 laps to go. 8 this time by.
Dylan does not want to give him room on that bottom, and I don't blame him.
A little bit of contact. Yeah, you've got the lead. I'm going to hang on to it, man.
He has made that low line work so well. He's going to make Tyler Ankrum commit to the outside to make this pass.
Ankrum already a winner in the series this year. Bassett, not so much. He's only got 1 career victory, and it came in his first of 4 seasons in the K&N Pro Series East. Would like to return to victory lane here, but it's going to be a tall order.
Dylan just needs to get this thing into the corner as hard as he can without getting loose in. But it looks like Ankrum's got the leverage now. He's got the position.
Side by side, even through 3. And off of 4, is this where the drive comes?
Yeah, that's the drive off.
Wow.
Dylan gave it one more shot of a slide job type move to protect the lead, but Ankram's he can roll that top too well.
It shows you the power down that you get from running that high line.
Yeah, his car, you can just see that 17 is rotating so well through the middle of the corner. And you can just hear him go to the throttle.
It's a feeling you like when you're a driver. Get back to the throttle and it sticks.
Oh, absolutely. We see some brakes glowing towards the end of this race. These guys are using up their cars. Even in a day race, you can see some hot brakes.
Chase Dowling in the 31, getting around the 12 of Ruben Garcia Jr. Behind them, the 2 of Ryan Vargas, running the Tommy Ellis paint scheme throwback this weekend. Vargas was hoping to do a little hard-nosed racing for Terrible Tommy. Here is 5th. Chase Cabry now making up some ground in the latter laps. One of the drivers who perhaps really saved his stuff, Landon, early on.
Yeah, we haven't seen much of him until just now. Cabry kind of had to push that 40 of Alfredo up the racetrack just a little bit. Alfredo, all he wanted to do was get to his bumper right there. You know, these short tracks where you really change directions quick, if you could just get to their bumper and wiggle them out of the way, you can steal that spot back, but it looks like Cabry's driving away.
You can see by the graphic, up front all day has been the 40 of Alfredo. And just now at the latter parts of the race, with just 2 to go, falling back.
Hey, I'm happy for Cabry having a good, strong run. You know, we talked about guys not having to save their tires. Here's a guy that did.
That's right. That's right. Well, Ankram had to do it all. He had to save. He had to go. He's got 1 lap remaining now to win here. There's the white flag. And he's gotten around Bassett. And looks like clear sailing down the backstretch.
Tyler Ankram dominated this weekend with speed, but had to start at the back. He's showing him up right now, though.
That's right. Past everybody on his way to victory lane. Tyler Ankram takes it at Thompson.
What a great finish for Bassett, though. I mean, gosh, that last restart, he gave it everything he had. You know that he didn't leave anything out on the table.
Well, neither did the crew. Fine setup in the 17 tonight, and that's all credit to the guy that Derek has caught up with.
Well, Seth Smith is the crew chief for Tyler Ankram, and boy, did you guys have to fight through adversity, coming from the rear, losing spots, and he's talking to his driver right now, but what a day for you guys.
Yeah, it was really incredible, you know. We were a little irritated after the qualifying ordeal, you know, but all in all, we knew we had a really fast race car, so really excited to be in victory lane here tonight. Incredible group of guys to work with here. All the guys at DGR Crosley are just phenomenal, and Tyler has done an awesome job this year. So looking forward to the rest of the season. Hope we can keep it up.
We'll see you in victory lane.
Sounds good. Thank you.
The 17 wins tonight here at Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park.
Well, I guess we don't blame him for being irritated to have to start at the rear, but they overcame that.
Yeah, who knows how it really went down, but we know that crew chiefs don't like being called out on their cars.
That's right. Hey, we enjoyed seeing Tyler Ankram pass everybody in the field and put on a show for the fans here this afternoon. There he is, the driver of the 17. We'll catch up with him in victory lane in a moment from Thompson, Connecticut. K&N Pro Series Racing on NBCSN is brought to you by K&N High Flow Air Filters and Air Intake Systems, because everyone loves that fast car smell. We've said it. It was a gorgeous day here. I think the K&N Pro Series East brought the cool to the Northeast and gave these fans a great atmosphere to watch racing in. They saw a lower modified division, a late model division, and now the big boys, the K&N Pro Series drivers, have put on a fantastic show, not the least of which is a driver who is climbing out of the 17.
Well, the confetti and the ice water is flying here in Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, victory lane. Tyler Ankram comes from the back of the pack after a post-qualifying infraction, getting congratulated by Dylan Bassett. And we got to step in here, and he's going to congratulate the entire crew. But come on over here, Tyler. We got to talk to you for a minute. How frustrating was that of a night, going to the rear of the field at the start of the race, coming back up to the front, and then losing spots on that restart?
Well, it certainly made it a lot more exciting, that's for sure. Definitely a hard-fought win. I was impressed with this whole car all night. It never fell off. Like, I don't know what fairy dust they sprinkled on this race car before the race, but it was the job, and they did a fantastic job doing it. But you know what? Hats off to these DGR guys once again, getting us to the racetrack. We finally got a second win this year. Hopefully that'll extend the points lead. I also got to thank Dylan. Dylan raced me really hard out there, but also raced me pretty clean. So, I raced him the way he raced me the way I would have raced him. So, you know what? Thanks for letting him race clean with me. I just got to thank the Modern Meat, number 17 Toyota. I hope that we got a really good rest of the year.
For a young, aggressive driver like yourself, what is it during the race that the crew is telling you to keep calm? Because you're all the way in the back of the pack. You have a shorter race than what we usually run.
Yeah, the whole time they're going, dude, you're a tenth and a half faster than everybody else in the field. Just calm down, slow down first. I mean, even when they had that last restart, which I didn't really understand. Spencer didn't even get to the start line, and he went and they threw the green. So, oh well, still got the win. But you know what? I hope it made it more exciting for the fans falling back to third or fourth and getting back up there. But you know what? Freaking hell of a night.
It's a great points day for the number 17 of Tyler Ankrum. They pick up win number 2 in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series this season.
Yeah, I know it was a great drive for Tyler from last place, but the key to the night for him winning, for me, was regaining his composure after that last restart and losing those spots, having to have his team remind him, you've got the best car, just settle down, man, and ride it out and get through there.
Dylan Bassett's second top 5 of the year, and a nice 5th place run for Chase Cabry. Here's Derek with 2nd place.
Just 7 more laps. That's all Dylan Bassett would have needed to lock up his second career NASCAR K&N Pro Series East win. But with the luck that you've had this year, this has got to be a great turnaround for you guys.
Yeah, it's a huge turnaround. Like I was saying earlier, we just haven't been able to bring race cars home to work on them. We've been having to rebuild cars week in and week out, and it's really hindered our performance at the track a lot. But to come here at Thompson and have a strong car like that, pretty much all day, we knew we didn't have short run speed, but long run speed we felt pretty confident about. And to finish second says a lot about our team. We've been fighting really hard just to get back on track, and I think this is a good step.
I was just going to ask you if you thought this was a shot in the arm that's going to get this team going in the right direction. But besides doing all those things, what else do you think you have to do to keep that consistency up?
We just got to find a little bit more speed. There's been several times this year where not having short run speeds kind of put us in a bad spot. But some of it's on me, and it's just something we got to keep working on and getting better. But just tonight was a huge performance for my guys. Hats off to them. They've worked their butts off just to get me in this spot, and I can't thank them enough.
Dave, Landon, the luck's turning around for the 44 car.
Yeah, you know how much I like Dylan Bassett and those Bassett brothers. Dylan knows what he needs. He knows he needs that short run speed, and he kind of puts it on his shoulders. I kind of like that. I think that he's just got to figure out how to get there on the restarts and get out in front of these guys.
Ankrum increases his championship lead by 6. Bassett is now 3rd. Speaking of 3rd, here's Derek.
Well, when Tyler Dipple and I talked earlier in the day, he seemed a little frustrated because he said this was one of the most challenging tracks he's ever run. But it seems like in that 100-lap period, you had some time to figure the place out, didn't you?
Yeah, we figured it out. My DGR guys gave me a good piece, P3 all day. It's just, I'm just a little bit frustrated with myself because, in practice we backed in the fence and they actually fixed this thing, They cut the whole rear clip off, fixing bars and stuff underneath. It's just frustrating for me because I think we could have been a lot better, but just as good as a 17 if we weren't working with a rack race car. But, these guys did a really phenomenal job. Just the whole DGR team gave me a really fast race car too today, though.
This has been one of your most successful seasons thus far. You've had the wins, some consistency, but what do you think you have to do to get just one more win this season?
Just keep doing what we're doing. I mean, we finished 3rd today with a completely wrecked race car, so I think we just got to keep executing, showing up to the track, just how we've been, and I think a couple more will come this year.
Dave, Tyler Dipple and the DGR team are proving to be a pretty strong combination.
I think so. Ankrum has to watch his rearview mirror the rest of the season.
Yeah, I would imagine that Dipple doesn't want to give his teammate any more freebies by making his team fix a car during practice instead of adjusting on it.
Make him earn it. Hey, there's the next race on NBCSN. And remember, it's just a week away from this one. So a quick turnaround for these drivers in the Northeast, but they'll handle it well and hopefully put on another good show. It won't be a throwback race necessarily. We had it tonight and saw some great eye candy along with great racing, Landon.
Yeah, Thompson Speedway always delivers, and it didn't fail tonight. A lot of racing room at this track. A lot of action.
Yeah, that was the moment Ruben Garcia Jr. basically took himself out of the win with the spin in turn 4. And then Tyler Ankrum, after getting around this guy, Spencer Davis, got around Dylan Bassett for the win, capping off a crazy weekend at Thompson. Thanks for joining us. There's your winner, Tyler Ankrum.